different things when it comes to like shaman type of behaviors. You know what I mean? Like some sort of witchcraft and tarot reading and cards and stuff like that. You know what I mean? A lot of things that are not of Yah, that's not of the Bible, it's not of scriptures. Now, of course, the reports have been that this individual, Lovi, and the rest of his group, apparently they all believe that they're prophets. Go figure, right? I mean, everybody wants to be a prophet. When they come across these individuals, they all want to be a prophet. You know what I mean? And so my thing is that these individuals have performed in witchcraft. You know what I mean? Being warlocks, being witches and warlocks. You know what I mean? And so this is what I wanted to capture in this video. I wanted to capture the fact that there was no difference between Miss Cleo, who we all know was a complete liar, you know what I mean, and was a false prophet, was was a witch, you know what I mean. And not only was she that, but she also was a fraud. The parallels aren't any difference. They're direct parallel to Lovi, the same behavior, the same conversation. And I really wanted to make it very clear when he talks about the demonic spirits and their level and how much information they can have based on what level they're at. And same thing with Miss Cleo talking about these demonic spirits and the levels, right? And what she communicates with these demons. Now, if you really paid attention in that video, you can tell that Lovi would say things like, oh, spirit from God, but he didn't want to mention demonic spirits, right? In deception. But you can read it on his face. You can read it in his speech that he was very careful. He treaded very lightly around the topic of demons, right? Because how would he ever be able to deceive you if he don't mix the truth with lies? These are not, spirits that come from the Most High. These are not spirits that come from the Most High at all. These are spirits that come directly from the demonic world, right? They consult with him. They do these things, tell them the things about the future for this individual, the present for this individual, and the past. And this is the information he gathers. You understand what I'm saying? From these demonic spirits. Now, I seen somebody write in the comment section every single time they say prophesy that they open up themselves to demonic. Yes, they are opening up themselves to demonic attacks, for demonic spirits to inhabit them. You understand what I'm saying? This is what they're currently doing without even realizing it. Now, this is more demonic, okay? This is more diabolical than a Christian church with a crucifix on its pulpit. You understand what I'm saying? And then doing an altar call. And then every single time every individual steps up for that altar call and they bow before that crucifix, they are effectively sacrificing each soul who are bowing to this idol on this pulpit. This is way more demonic. This is way more spiritual. You understand what I'm saying? This is way more effective to be able to siphon souls, right? And commit them souls to hell. Let's keep it a buck, right? Unless these individuals turn away from this mess, repent, right? And get back to the real Yahshua, the real Jesus, right? And start to look within themselves for that kingdom relationship, for that connection with the Father. Until they're able to actually do that, then they're in grave danger of losing their very salvation, the one thing that they're working so hard to find. And this is the reason why they're in the position that they're in, is because they're working hard to find the true Jesus, the real Messiah, right? And what does he say? He says, my people are destroyed for their lack of knowledge because they reject the knowledge, and therefore he shall reject them. We can't allow them to receive the message that's being said right in that video that I just created, right? It is Yah inspired. I just put it together. You understand what I'm saying? We can't force them to receive that information, to receive the parallels between Lovi and Miss Cleo. You understand what I'm saying? Something that has been dumbed down to a level as to where this woman's a meme. This woman is a joke. Now she's being compared to a man who is deceiving many. As I wrote there, it's at least anywhere between 4,000 to 7,000 viewers live every single time he goes live. You understand what I'm saying? These are a lot of souls that have committed themselves to this man. They have latched themselves and bound themselves to this man on this earth. You understand what I'm saying? And believing that this man is going to bring them their salvation. and bring them the things of this world. You understand what I mean? They're looking for riches. They're looking for glory. They're looking for all these different things here on this earth. And a lot of them who go to this ministry, who go to this man, this false prophet, Lovi, are looking for prestige. A lot like Straightway. They're looking for prestige. They're looking for an opportunity. They're looking for wealth. They're looking for an increase in wealth. You understand what I'm saying? They're looking for signs and for wonders. And we know that the book says that a wicked and perverse generation will seek at the sign and there should be none given. This is what they're searching for in these churches. You understand what I'm saying? In this church, when they're surrounding themselves with these so-called prophets, these false prophets, this is what they're doing. So I think it's really important for us to really tap in on that. And we got a testimony, y'all. We got a testimony. And we're going to go ahead and play this testimony because we're going to expose some of the things and some of the tactics that they do, right, to some of these believers, some of the people that's truly seeking Yah. You know what I mean? That's truly seeking the Father, that's truly seeking Yahshua. But honestly, I truly believe that they're seeking themselves. They're seeking fleshly things. They're seeking the pride of life. And this is the reason why I started it off this way. I started it off with introducing you guys to, the being bound to the things of this earth, right? Instead of being bound to the things that are in Shemayim, that are in glory, and not being able to loose the true spiritual gifts that we have here on this earth, because we're bound to the things of this earth due to our pride of life, due to our lust, our fleshly desires and lusts for all things here on this earth. This is the reason why most of these individuals attend this church. I remember hearing a testimony from somebody in regards to Lovi, and they said they joined the church because it was all about the way the suits and the way that he looked and things like that. You get what I'm saying? And this is the reason why he joined the church, is because he liked the aesthetics. It was aesthetically pleasing to him. And then he then had to leave because he saw the wickedness, right? How many more of those individuals, right? Those 4,000 to 7,000 people who tune in every live stream. I'm talking, they go live every day. And I've been in on a lot of them, right? When I have time, just listening in, trying to really hear what this man is saying to see how the level of deception. And I promise you now, the level of deception is on a whole nother level, y'all. He deceives the masses, man. He literally says a bunch of truth. You understand? It comes from scripture, and then he mixed that in with some lies, y'all, out of this world. He got these people calling him Papa, calling him Daddy, calling him Father. You understand what I'm saying? This is what he's got. He's got these individuals lifting him up above Jesus, Yahshua. He's lifted up. He's exalted up above him, regardless on how many times he says the name of Jesus. He does not hold it in his heart. Humility does not settle on this man. He's morally concerned with how himself is looking. You understand what I'm saying? Who's going to submit to him? Who's going to lift him up and the things that he can do in his vanity? You understand what I'm saying? That's what his concern truly lies. We're going to go ahead and get into this testimony, man. We're going to get into this testimony real quick. And if you guys can real quick, man, hit that like button. Go ahead and share this video with those who may need to hear this truth. And I know there's a lot of them out here who need to hear the truth. So share this video with them. We need maximum effort, y'all.
Maximum effort.
Come on now. We need maximum effort. Go and hit that like button. Share this video. We need maximum effort. And if you hear, man, and you a hater, you understand what I'm saying? Feel free to hate on me. You understand what I mean?
If there's any haters in here right now that don't have nobody to hate on, feel free to hate on me. Sit back there and say my hair ain't luxurious when you know it is, bitch.
Yo, we're going to get into this thing real quick, man. Upon my investigations, I came across a new testimony that came up out of this thing, right? And she was addressing not only Passion Java, but also Lovi, who led her to Java, right? And the experience that she experienced while she was there. I want you guys to hear what she had to say. I had to go ahead and run my ass over to her channel, man, and check out this testimony. Oh, man. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this thing. My name taskbar got in the way. I was gonna have it popped up. You see what I'm saying? Come on, man.
Is the sheep preaching hate?
Why that popped up? Let me get it. Man, we running smooth today. You best believe that I prayed for it. Let's go. We're gonna go ahead and get into this thing real quick. You guys, this is a woman. Her name is Katie. I'm gonna say this, right? She believes herself to be a pastor, and of course, we know based on scripture, I don't believe that a woman can hold the title of pastor. But we're gonna go into this thing and hear her testimony in regards to these two false prophets, so we can provide some more context. You understand what I'm saying? Let's listen in.
Hi, my name is Katie, and I want to tell you my story of the suffering that I endured at Kingdom Embassy at the hands of Passion Java, Innocent, and Tim Panasuk at Kingdom Embassy in Atlanta. Now, this is not easy for me to tell my testimony, but I'm just going to be me. I'm just going to be Katie, and I'm just going to share my story. And I want you to know who this story is for. Although many more people of the world might see my testimony or the exposures that are pretty deep, this video and my testimony is really for all the people in Kingdom Embassy who feel trapped, who don't know how to come out, who knows what they're seeing and what they're suffering through is not of God, and it's not okay, even though they're being tricked or coerced or manipulated, just like I was. So I just want to tell all my friends and family from Kingdom Embassy, it is okay to be bold and to come out from under the hellish, disgusting, manipulative witchcraft church and cult under the hands of Passion Java. So my story starts with how I got there. How did I get to Kingdom Embassy? Well, I started in Kingdom Embassy Atlanta back in December when they first came to Atlanta. I think it was
Y'all let me know if that's too fast. All right.
It was the end of December, the beginning of January. They were opening a brand new branch right here. Okay. I've never done a live on YouTube, so. And I came to Atlanta because I wanted to serve God. I was seeking after him. I wanted to learn more of the prophetic. I wanted to go deeper in Christ. I wanted to know God. And I got there because I was first watching Lovey. I was watching Lovey online, and I was seeing what I thought was of God and all the things he was doing. And I was like, I want that. God, I want to do that. I want to free your people. I want to deliver your people. I want to be able to hear like they hear and see like they see. And so what happened is I went and looked for, well, I guess they call them spiritual fathers, right? I didn't grow up in churches like that, so that was new to me. And I looked up who his mentor was, and I saw that Passion Java was Lovey's spiritual father. And I will say 99.99% of everybody from a whole year that I spent boots on the ground with people in Kingdom Embassy and serving, almost all of us came to Kingdom Embassy under Java because we trusted that Lovey was a man of God. It was very rare to run into someone and they came to Kingdom Embassy because of Java. In fact, nobody really even knows who he is. Everyone only knows him because of Lovey. I'll digress from that. I'm gonna say forward. More to come later, I'm sure. And so I looked him up, and then I saw Java was coming with this guy, Tim Panasuk, and they were opening a church right here in Atlanta, Georgia. And I knew I was supposed to go, and God was sending me to go serve. And so I went and I started serving, and within 2 months, I was already being asked to travel. So I think it was in February. I remember the date. It was the end of February. Java came to Kingdom Embassy Atlanta to do a conference. And at that time, I was working in the green room. And so I saw everything. I heard everything. And they were in there. And Java said, hey, get that oil, Katie, and come over here. I'm going to anoint you. And so at that time, I didn't know anything about any of these people. And so, of course, he anointed me. He prayed over me, or what I thought he was doing was praying over me. And that week, I had a very horrible, lustful, disgusting dream that just makes me upset of Java coming into my dreams. and violating me. And I was very perturbed. I was very upset. I was disgusted. And so I'm just thinking like, oh, the devil is a liar, blah, blah, blah. And this is what we do. This is what we do. Something happens and we kind of just toss it away. Especially in Kingdom Embassy. We're talking.
Now, let me say this. I'm inclined to believe her on that part with the horrible, disgusting dream thing. But the jokester in me, but the jokester in me, y'all, we'll call bullshit on that. I think she was, but either way, the jokester in me, I'm not gonna go there. But let's continue.
Ought to do that. Push everything away and don't think about anything for yourself. And so how did I get to trust them? So I started spending a lot of time with Tim Panasuk. Everyone thought I was either his wife or his sister. So we started doing everything together. He started bringing me to Zimbabwe. We started traveling to Africa and some other places, which we'll talk about in a second. And, I'm with the man of God and he's doing all these things. And I'm thinking it's God the whole time because I'm chasing after God and they're doing these things. So I think it's of God. But they would do weird things. And one of the weird things they would always do is they would always have you eat off of Prophet Passion's plate. It was so weird. But I'm like, okay, maybe it's the African culture. I don't know. Maybe that's what they do. And they would say, no, you can get the anointing and you can get what the prophets have just by eating their food. This is what they teach us.
You see this? Now, this is one of the things that I really wanted you guys to hear. Like, literally, they said that if you eat off this man's plate, you understand what I'm saying? That you would get what they have. What the hell? What would that be? Would that be what? A venereal disease? What would that be? Herpes or some shit? Like, what would you get from eating from this man's plate? And why would you exalt him in such an esteem? You understand what I'm saying? That if you ate from his plate, that you would actually receive some sort of spiritual gifts or some sort of fortune, right? And that you would hang and hold true to that. Like me as a person, I know the rebel in me, right? You understand what I'm saying? The man in me would not be able to receive somebody else's leftovers. You know what I mean? Just because they feel as though they may be a prophet. Now, I would have been a problem in this particular ministry, Kingdom Ministries. Listen, I would have been a whole problem in a biscuit. You understand what I mean? We would have had some real issues. If you'd have told me this nigga hand me a stick of gum, his last stick of gum, right? And I'm supposed to be just elated about this. I'm supposed to be bowing down to his feet about a stick of gum. Or he hands me a half-eaten plate of food, like I'm supposed to receive it and wholeheartedly receive that and eat that shit. Like, what makes you think that I would want to, right? You understand what I'm saying? That makes no sense to me, because the only person who literally was able to say bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, right, was Jesus, was Yahshua, who broke bread with the disciples, right? And my thing is this: I would not hold anybody else to that high esteem. This is the reason why we see that these individuals, these false prophets, these devilish prophets, you understand what I'm saying, that work for the house Satan, are evil. They're wicked, and they put themselves and exalt themselves above Jesus, above Yahshua. You understand what I'm saying? And put themselves in an entirely different seat alongside of Yah. That would have struck me as odd. You know what I mean? You had me a half-eaten plate of food, man. You got me all the way messed up. I don't know what somebody would have thought, but my thing is that nah, no sir, no sir, no sir. So that would have been a huge red flag for me. That would have had me walking away right then and there. I would have been like, man, this shit weird. I'm out of here, like for real. That would have had me leaving. But let's continue. Let's hear why she may have overlooked this and stayed.
In Kingdom Embassy. And so it's always, first of all, Java never finishes a plate of food. Trust me, I've been around the world with him. I've been in green rooms. I've seen, we've been in a lot of meetings with everybody together. Those of you that know me in Kingdom Embassy, I was there with everybody. And he would finish a plate and then he would go serve it to somebody who, what is the word? Grooming. Whoever he was grooming at the time. Now, obviously my story is in retrospect, because when I'm in it, I'm not realizing really what's going on. I'm going with the flow of things. So I'm talking also from a retrospect point of view as well. So we're constantly eating at his table, off of his plate, and all of his food. It's so weird. But they start to like make everything normal, right? And I'm very inquisitive, so I like to ask questions. And so I would start asking the men of God that are very close to Java, that are with him all the time, who I got very close with, I would ask them, like, why do we do this or why do we do that? And they never would give me an answer. They would always say things like, oh, because that's just the way it's done, or we don't question the prophet, like he is God. They would teach us, like they would program us constantly because we were always together. Like it is as if Java is God. So one time I go to Maryland, I travel to Maryland. He's having a CCC conference. What that is it's a mentorship. Actually, it's a grooming group for single women, single mothers, or women that don't have husbands, men who are really involved in their life, or fathers. That's really what it's for mostly. And he calls it a women's mentorship group. And I can say a lot about that. But we were there that weekend for that. And what he does is he says he trains up women in the prophetic, right? So we're all excited because we're chasing after God, thinking this guy's going to teach us what we're going after in our heart with the Lord. And just things started to get weird. So of course I can say many, many things because I've been all over the place with them. But on my last trip, so I haven't been around Kingdom Embassy. I left 10 months ago. 10 months ago this month. And we're in March of 2005. So this was last year. I believe August is when I fully left everything. And my last trip to Zimbabwe, Africa, it was when he did the big stadium conference where he went and Lovey came and everything. And it was a joke. But anyway, so we go there and we're there for 2 weeks to do that. And what he does is he keeps us up all night long. I'm trying to teach you guys, like, or tell you my testimony, like, because I'm about to tell you some really difficult stuff that I got myself into. The cult stuff, the horrible side, the dark, evil, wicked side that's happening to us women in there. So I want you to understand how I got there. And so it would be a constant grooming. So on this last trip that I was in Zimbabwe at that time, it was right before May. What's the month before May? I know I'm being so real and raw right now. Like I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm not trying to be pretty for you. I'm like literally just trying to tell you my story. And so anyway, so we're there around May, early May. And we're there for 2 weeks and we're up all night long. You get like 2 hours of sleep. He does this on purpose. So they make you sleep deprived. You literally can't even think. You don't want to talk to anybody. When you get those 2 hours of sleep where they let you go to your room, then you get sleep. So what we're doing during those other times we're usually sitting in a crowded hot room with Java. And basically we are worshiping him. We are giving him money. We're telling him how amazing he is, about how much we love the last thing that he taught. And he always makes you go around the room to, what did you learn from me that you really liked? Because he always loves to hear about himself. And so he says the name Jesus a whole lot, but he's only glorifies himself. And so, oh my gosh, I was just exhausted. I was tired. And on this trip, it was weird. Like never before. Now I had been with them since January, right? January, February, March, April, May. So 4 or 5 months in, like I'm with them all the time. And now it got weirder. All of a sudden, when I was in Zimbabwe, and I had 2 assistants with me, and I wasn't in my own room, so they were literally with me. They saw these texts, they saw his calls, they saw him calling me in the morning when I'm trying to get ready and putting my makeup on from his hotel when he was doing whatever he was doing. And Java would text me every morning, and he'd say, "Good morning, daughter. How are you? Who are you rooming with? What are you doing?" So I'm thinking like, oh, like I'm his daughter now, I guess, which this is weird again for me because that's never been a culture for me to call that, father, papa, weird stuff. And so he's like, yeah, he's like, I was going to come to your room today, but you didn't answer the phone earlier when I called. And that happened every morning I was there. And I would tell my assistants, like, he called again, like trying to like come and see me. And he would make up excuses like, oh, I wanted to borrow your necklace. Or, I just, wanted to say good morning. And at this point, I'm still thinking like, okay, well, this is like a man of God. Like he's not trying anything. Maybe he's sincere. Maybe he's just being kind. And so everybody on that trip, there was maybe 60 of us, 60 or 70. So I have 70, what do you call that? Like people, witnesses. I have like 70 witnesses. That's all what I'm telling you right now. Every day, like when I say it was grooming to the max, but I didn't know that at the time. To me, it just looked like favor. And I was tricked because I am praying to God because I'm in ministry. I'm wanting to grow in the prophetic. I'm wanting to grow in my relationship with God. And here it looks like as I'm praying, give me favor with you, God, and give me favor with men. Give me favor with you, God. Give me favor with men. And now all of it.
And we know based on the scriptures, y'all, that we cannot serve 2 masters. We either hate one and love the other. We got to do something. You understand what I'm saying? And so effectively, she's been serving Java. You know what I mean? And she has not been serving the Most High in this whole situation. Now, my thing is this, right? I know she probably had her time to be able to heal from this, but I also want to know more, right? I want to know more. I want to know what her true heart intent, because in discerning this whole testimony or discerning the testimony so far, she's repenting, or she's giving her testimony based on wanting to regain trust with the public. You understand what I'm saying? Based on her absence from this particular church. Now, she considers herself to be a pastor, which me personally, I wouldn't say that she is a pastor, because based on scripture, all right, based on the scriptures that I know for sure she can't hold this particular title of pastor, right? But my thing is that if you wanted to get back into your ministry, right? If you want to get back into the pastoralship, whatever you call it, whatever you feel you want to do, why not clean this up? This is a PR move. This is what I'm witnessing here. This is what I'm discerning from this, right? I appreciate the truth that she's shedding light on this whole situation, but I also question whether or not she was actually wanting the advances coming from Java, or if she was actually giving mixed signals in those advances. I'm actually questioning that as well. You get what I'm saying? Because you just got to. We got to really discern the heart's intent here. But just based on the way she approached the whole thing before, and when she was like, well, it was just disgusting, and the dream that she had was disgusting that she had about Java. It was almost like she was really trying to make that point clear, and it came off as disingenuous, right? But I could be totally wrong in that discernment. I could be totally wrong. She could have been like genuinely disgusted by that, right? I listen, it is what it is. But based on what I've discerned on that, that's what I see. I see a PR move, and I see that she probably did want those advances. I would think that she would go to the police. I would think that she would open up a case, right, against Java if those advances was not warranted, or maybe he didn't have any proof and evidence that she actually was wanting, or she was pursuing those advances. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just me. Because if I was a woman and I was violated by a man, right, and maybe I didn't realize it at first, and I didn't really come to grips that this was like what it was, which is abuse, I would then go to the police, and I would feel a certain way about it, right? But immediately, if I felt violated, it would have been known right then and there. But we have to understand that she stuck around, right? So we're going to continue with this testimony. That's what I've discerned from her so far. I don't know what you guys got. You guys tell me in the comment section below what you guys got from her testimony so far. Let's go ahead and continue. We're not going to play this whole thing. It's almost an hour long. So let's continue.
Of a sudden, it looks like I'm having all this favor with Passion Java. He's calling me, he's checking up on me, he's talking about my ministry, we're talking about business ideas because I love business, he loves business. So I'm thinking like he's being genuine and sincere. I'm not thinking anything because I've never heard the stories of him that people expose and say all these things. And I never thought that I would be one on a video like this one day. Actually, this is still surreal right now. This is really surreal. But I have to talk to my brothers and my sisters in Kingdom Embassy, and you have to know why. Because nobody called me when I disappeared from Kingdom Embassy. Nobody. All my close friends, all the ones that called me family and sister, nobody called to check on me because you believed the story that Java gave you when you know he's a liar.
Yeah, that's signs of a cult 101, y'all. We know this from demonstrations from Straightway and from other cults as well. That have been around for a while. Once somebody leaves, they consider you to be mincemeat. You're nothing to them, right? You're a vagabond. You're somebody who's left the faith. Like you've abandoned Yah in its entirety. You understand what I'm saying? And you went to serve Satan. And this is how they think when they are operating within the ministry. Now, are operating within the cult ministry. You understand what I'm saying? Now, the individuals that's within that ministry are still under a bewitchment. They're still under a spell and believing, okay, with their mind wholeheartedly that you are now the enemy, right? They turn against you. They don't contact you. They believe everything that's being said about you, even though you may have been a model citizen, right? A model example as to what you should be, right? Holiness, whatever it may be. Even though that you really demonstrated yourself to be that, they believe the total opposite based on the mind washing of the individuals. But that's what classify you as a cult when you do things like that. When you do tactics, smear tactics, stuff like that in the public, right? Tell other people not to communicate or contact you or speak to you ever again. You excommunicado. Those things make you a cult. That's what separates you from everybody else. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's very dangerous. You know what I mean? Let's continue.
Kingdom Embassy Atlanta. When Tim Panasuke and Angie told you lies of why I left Kingdom Embassy Atlanta, none of you reached out to me. Nobody. If you want to know what happened, call Katie. Because Tim, Angie, which I have the text, they're liars, unfortunately, because I really did love them. And Passion's a liar. And Innocent too, which we'll get to. So we're out eating, and he would come over and he would give me his plate. It's like an honor in the Kingdom Embassy. Oh, the prophet gave you his bowl of grapes, or he gave you his leftover food, or his ice cream cone, or his last stick of gum. Just stupid stuff. It's so stupid. But people were seeing this, and they would always say, like, wow, Katie, like the prophet really favors you. And I would be like, yeah, I don't know why. So I was on the phone with one of my people back home one day while I was in Africa, and I was like, I don't know why, like, he favors me so much. Like, no matter where we are or what we're doing, he will stop his business meeting. He will stop whatever he's doing in Africa, and he will address me when I walk in the room. I thought that was weird, and I wasn't comfortable with that, but that was weird. And so I called him one night while we were in Africa, and I said, can we have a conversation? Like, can we have a personal conversation? And because he would talk so personal, but we never had personal time. And so I went to go meet with him, and I mean, everybody was in the room, all his people, all his social media. I won't give names. You guys know who they are if you're in Kingdom Embassy. All the people that work with him. And so I go in there and I sit down and I'm like, I just need to know, like, why are you favoring me so much? And he's like, oh, is that what you think I'm doing? Now in his mind, obviously he's thinking I'm grooming her because I'm about to do something horrible. But in my mind, I'm asking him why, because it's so weird to me. And I'm telling him, everybody on this trip is noticing and it's just kind of weird. Like, what are you doing? And so as I was leaving after we had talked, because he didn't really give an answer, because you don't ever really get answers in Kingdom Embassy. As I was walking away from where we were, he texted me and he said, I really wanted to ask you a question, but I don't think it's time yet. And I was like, oh, you can ask me, what's up? Like, either I'm a total, like, what? Or I'm under a total spell, or I'm in a trance, or something's going on with me, because like my brain is literally not working at this point. Like, literally, like I'm like dazed and confused. I don't know why I'm feeling weird. And it was that day in retrospect that I remember. And again, 70 witnesses. He came to me and he asked me if he could borrow my golden necklace. I had a gold chain with diamonds in it. And he said, can I wear your necklace today? And he gave it back to me in front of everybody. And he tried to make it look like he bought me a necklace. But then when people started, acting crazy, some people started manifesting like hate and jealousy signals. And I'm just like, what is going on? Like, I just thought it was so weird. And when I got back to my hotel room and I looked at my chain, there was stuff like on the back of it that looked like blood. Now, I do believe, and I already know, obviously, that these are all false men of God, and they're heavily into witchcraft. You heard all the stories on all the exposure videos from EJ, etc. These stories are true. I've seen it, and I've been a part of seeing some stuff with Java. I don't know if I'll say all that right now, though. So here I am. I'm very immersed. Like, I'm loving my people, my brothers and sisters that I'm with, and all of that. And so I feel like I was extremely manipulated. So Java started texting me and talking to me, and they had this whole thing, and I can explain later how it happened for him. But for me, let me stay on topic because we're only 20 minutes in. Oh my gosh. Okay. After we were in Zimbabwe, then we traveled to China. And it was supposed to be, well, again, this is what I was told from him. So I don't know what's true and what's not true. I'm just telling you what I was told. Someone had bought his ticket, which was one of my friends. And I love that girl. And still, it's just so sad. You lose all your family. When you're in a cult and you leave, it's like you lose everybody. It totally sucks. And then the pain of like still having them there sucks. And it sucks because you guys never call me to check on me or to see what happens. That sucks too. So it's like, really, what are we doing in Kingdom Embassy? That we don't even have love for one another, that we don't even check on one another, when it's just so ridiculous.
As you can hear, it's the same MO. It's the same thing. Honestly, you hear it's across the board. It's going to move the same. And you shall know them by their fruits. And by their fruits, you shall know them. What's different from a straight way? You understand what I'm saying? What's different from all these other sectors and groups, you know what I mean, who decide to want to shun you? You understand what I'm saying? But upon your departure, rather than gaining a brother, right, or trying to show you your sin, if you're any, right, are trying to hear you out as to what problems or concerns you may have had, what grievances you had, without trying to throw you under the bus for their own reputation. Let's continue.
And so anyway, so he says that he's going to China, and then he says he's not, and then he says he is, and like we're back and forth in the airport. And of course I want to go to China because I was like, oh, this is a great time. He was bringing an intimate group. He had like 11 people going. I was like, I would like to go. Like, who doesn't want to go? Because in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, because it's not like this huge gigantic group with all of these plans and what is it called? like events. We didn't have like events planned. I was like, wow, we'll have a lot of time. There's a lot of subjects in prophecy and in meditation I want to learn. I want to learn about like how he's delivering people, like how he first started seeing with God and his angels and all this stuff. I'm like, I'm actually going to have time with the prophet so that I can learn these things. That's what I'm thinking in my head. So we get to China and my assistant is with me, and he traveling with 11 other people. And then I guess there were some more people that were there when we got there that he met up with. And we're in China, and this is where everything turned. This is where my whole life stopped for a minute. I'm still in the process now of therapy and coming out of and regaining everything that was lost because of this trip to China with Passion Java. And so I'm excited. We get there, and he says, while we're here on this trip, we're not allowed to talk about anything spiritual. You can't talk about anything spiritual. I don't want to talk about God. I don't want you to ask me about your dreams. This is what he's saying to everybody. I don't want you to ask me.
And by their fruits you shall know them. I wouldn't dare utter out my mouth. If you had the true fear of the Most High, yeah, there's no way you will utter out your mouth. I don't want to talk about God. I don't want to talk about the Most High, yeah. I don't want to talk about Yahweh. I don't want to talk about that. You know what I mean? You would never utter that out of your mouth, not even once, if you had the fear of Yah in you. You know what I mean? By their fruits, you shall know them. Let's continue.
About your dreams. I don't want anything. I just want to be a normal man and a normal person on this trip. And I'm thinking in my head, like, that's not why I came. Like, I thought I would have time to like pick his brain, because they tell us.
And now out of the abundance of the hearts, her mouth shall speak. She wants to know. She's after the worldly knowledge. She's after whatever she feels. That's what she's after. That's what landed her in this position, is what she was chasing. That which she was chasing is what landed her in this position. She wasn't chasing the Father. She wasn't chasing Yeshua or Jesus the Messiah. She was not chasing him with her whole heart. She was chasing wealth. She was chasing the vanity, the things of this world, binding herself, like we were talking about in the beginning of this live stream, where we broke down the binding and loosing. She was binding herself to the things of this earth, and she could not loose the spiritual gifts on this earth. You understand what I'm saying? Because she bound her spiritual gifts up in heaven, because she binded herself to these things on this earth, binding herself in these things on earth, bounding her spiritual gifts up in Shemayim, up in heaven, and she could not loose that. She couldn't use the spirit of discernment, one of the gifts of the spirit, right? Spirit discernment in this situation, discern that there's multiple red flags already. And I don't feel like I'm chasing, I feel like I'm chasing the desires of my own heart rather than the desires that the Most High would will for me to chase, right? I'm not chasing Yah's will. I'm chasing my own will. I'm moving on my own pace. And the Most High has sent her different signs. She had the dream about this sexual dream about Java. You understand what I'm saying? Sending her signs, showed her, right? Showed Java and his true heart. You understand what I'm saying? Then he goes off and he says, I don't even want to talk about Yah. I don't want to talk about God. I don't want to talk about the Most High Yah. I just want to be a normal man, a normal person, yada, 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 which is extremely self-driven. And he's not focused on the kingdom business, right? And which she exposes herself, and that's the only thing she's interested in. You understand what I'm saying? This is the reason why she landed her in this position. Let's continue, y'all.
Okay, Tim told me that Panasuk, that why would you not want to glean and pick the brain of a false prophet that has written over 500 books? So I'm telling my assistant, oh my gosh, we get to hang out with a man of God that has downloaded over 500 books straight from the throne room. Like, that's amazing. And then I heard, Tim told me, right, because we used to hang out, right? He's like, yeah, Java, every time he flies on an airplane to go do something, he downloads an entire book and writes it while he's on the plane. And now in retrospect, as I'm looking back, everybody is a liar. Everybody lies about everything. I have been on so many airplane rides with Java. He has never once written a book while flying, nor getting a download from God, because he doesn't get downloads from God, the God, Jesus Christ, the Father God. No, he doesn't. Oh my gosh. And so here I am believing all of these lies. You have to know where my mind is. I'm believing.
Chasing power, chasing prestige, chasing the things of this world, binding yourself to the things of this world so your spiritual gifts could not operate on this earth because they were bound in heaven. You could not discern. You could not use the spirit of discernment. You understand what I'm saying? And all the signs that the Most High was sending you, you completely ignored them because the Holy Spirit was not operating or working within you. This is the reason why you found yourself in this position.
All this stuff that I was told. So here we are. And so he flies in, he gets in, and he tells me and my assistant, like, hey, you know, I didn't bring any of my assistants with me. Like, do you think that, you know, you and your assistant could like come unpack my stuff, come and help me or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, sure, that's cool. Like, I know his assistants personally. Like, I know them. I love them at this time. I mean, I still love them, but you know, I don't know what you guys are doing now. But I'm like, okay, yeah, I mean, that makes total sense, right? So we go up there and I go into his room. And he tells my assistant to leave the room. She had to go get something or something. And as soon as she left, he grabs me and starts to try to rip my pants off. And like, I'm so confused. And I'm holding my pants and I'm like, no, 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 no. And he's like, I thought you wanted me. I was like, no, 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 I don't. What? I'm like, you're my spiritual father. Like, no. And he's like, oh, well, I thought I got mixed signals. So now he's messing with my head. I'm like, I don't know what is going on. I'm like, I'm in a happy relationship. Like, I don't know what you were ever thinking, you know, and he tries to make it your fault. The reason why I'm telling this story is because there's so many of you women. I know you personally. I would never say your names publicly, but you know that I know you personally. And I know that you have been abused and used by Passion Java. And I know that there's some of you in Atlanta, Georgia, that have been used and sexually abused by Tim, unfortunately.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, well, maybe he made a mistake. I'm like, why is my mind doing, like, my mind's not even there. Spiritually later, I understand what happened. Like,
because she bound herself to the she's bound herself to the things in this world, on this earth. And so she bound her spiritual gifts in heaven. She's not able to operate in the fullness of those, right? So that spiritual gift that would have had her discerning these situations and walking away, right? Being brave, being bold, walking away from the worldly things. That did not loose from Shemaim. That did not loose from heaven. So she was not able to operate within those gifts. It was bound in heaven because she binded herself to the things of this earth. That's the reason why.
My mind was such in a fog, and the witchcraft that was being done against me, it was like I really wasn't myself. And those of you that are in Kingdom Embassy Atlanta, you understand what I'm saying. And so, so that all happens, and then I go to my room. We go to sleep. The next morning, he comes to our room and he was like, Katie, get up, get up. And I'm like, not a morning person. And I'm like, why? And at this, like, there's something in my like spirit right now that's like, something's not right here. Like, something's really not right. Like it's just not right. But it's like, okay. And he's like, you know, Katie, get up now. I need to show you something. And I don't know. It's like, I didn't want to get up and I didn't want to go, but you start to reason like, well, you're not going to get hurt. Why would he hurt? He's your spiritual father. Like, he's been teaching you. He's paid for all your trips. Unfortunately, you guys probably don't want to know where that money comes from.
Paid for all your trips. He's been teaching you. He's paid for all your trips. Binding herself to the things of this earth and not to the things of Yah. And bounding her spiritual gifts, the things that'll help her discern in this whole situation. She couldn't loose those spiritual gifts because they were bound in Shemaim. They're bound. Listen, she was operating in her own flesh. You understand what I'm saying? Operating within her own flesh. And so your fleshly desires is going to give you exactly what you deserve. You understand what I'm saying? Yah is going to find a way to punish you and wake you up. Now it's time for you to walk in a newness, right? You should have learned from that experience. So hopefully you don't go back into being a perpetuator of this evil, right? Or going back into allowing somebody to perpetuate evil on you. Learning how to soul search within yourself, right? And build that Eden, that connection with the Most High. You understand what I'm saying? So that way you can loose those spiritual gifts here on this earth. And so that way it will be loosed in Shemaim. It'll be loosed in heaven. You can use them. You can operate within them. You can move that. You'll be able to discern this from a mile away. You understand what I'm saying? But building that connection within yourself with the Most High, not relying on any other man, because we all know you are operating by the flesh, as we all have done before. You understand what I'm saying? We all have operated within the flesh before, but now you can really see a prime example in somebody else's testimony. Let's continue. Let's hear what Java did once he told her to come. He woke her up and told her to come here quickly. You know what I mean? So let's see what Java did once he woke her up abruptly.
That's why you guys give offerings every 10 minutes in church. You guys fund all his trips and all his luxury hotel rooms, not only for him, but also for us. You pay for our Gucci's, you pay for our clothes, you pay for our shopping trips. It's really...
Don't that sound familiar for all my straightway people out there? Don't that sound familiar? Same MO. Ain't nothing changed. You understand what I'm saying? It's the same MO. Now, don't get me wrong, but that is a bit excessive to be sitting there using church money to buy all of this stuff and pay for all these different things. It's a bit excessive. You should want to source that out somewhere else, right? Build your own business that can be able to take care of a lot of that stuff. You know what I mean? Not using church funds and resources in order to fund your lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit more respectable to do it that way. You know what I mean? So let's continue. Let's go. Oh, man. Right now, in the name of Jesus. All right. Uh-oh. Stopped at one too many, y'all. It's all good. Rebuke this right now in the name of Jesus. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, here we go. Let me check my connection. Okay. All right.
Disgusting.
So
it's really disgusting. And Tim Panasuk does the same thing in Atlanta, unfortunately. They raise money off of their people to pay for their exotic sin getaways. That's what they do. And so I'm not going to go into the details of the story, but I will tell you, and I say this for the women that I know you think you are stuck. I'm here to tell you, you are not stuck. Passion Java raped me. He raped me multiple times. He not only used me, raped me, hurt me. I had bruises all over my body. I had so many bruises on my chest that you couldn't even touch me because it hurt. I had bruises on my lips and on my face where he choked me. He slapped me in my face. And I would yell at him and tell him, don't touch me. But obviously he is stronger than me, especially when his demons come out. Because at this point, like, I'm literally seeing the switch where Passion Java's eyes are pitch black. And there's this deep growling voice that's coming out of his mouth. And as he's raping me, he's telling me to shut up. And I was so dazed and confused that he literally trafficked me to China and then used me as his sex slave for 3 days while we were there. Now I get back home and I tell my shepherd, my man of God, Tim Panasuk, who is supposed to be overseeing and protecting his flock. We're like this. We're in the green room everywhere. We travel everywhere. I'm at his house every day. I'm helping him. I'm taking up his offerings. And I go to him and I tell him, your father raped me and he abused me and he hurt me. And you know what he said? He said, well, what are you going to do about it, Katie? Because I hope you're not going to tell anybody, because I don't know what people are going to think of me and what they're going to think of Java if you come out and tell people.
Think of the parallels here, and I know that this was more heartfelt, and the part that hurt her the most is that she was not being protected by Tim, the guy who she had more trust in. She confided in him, and he failed to protect her in this situation, which left her feeling alone and all of that stuff. But like Mama Clay, she just posted this scripture. You understand what I'm saying? But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare. You understand what I'm saying? She was looking for the things of this world. She wanted to be rich. She wanted that recognition. She wanted to be Pastor Katie. You understand what I'm saying? The one who moved and traveled with Java, Prophet Java, and Prophet Lovey. You know what I mean? The one who was in that limelight and building a ministry that would fund her lifestyle as well. You understand what I'm saying? She enjoyed the fruits of the labor of the saints that were there. You understand what I'm saying? No matter how deceived that they are right now, she enjoyed the fruits of their labor. You understand what I'm saying? And now she has reaped what she sowed. She has found herself in a snare. And this right here is what brings her to the tears that she's in currently, is that she was betrayed, right? She was let down by the man that she felt she had the most trust in, and confiding in him. He decided to brush it on the rug, sweep it under the rug. And a lot of times in these situations, you will find that that happens. You'll find that other individuals will lie for somebody, right? As we seen the story with Dow. Dow had two different people lie for him. He had Muir lie for him. He had Phillips, Corey Phillips lie for him to everyone. I mean, Corey Phillips did a whole sermon about why it was right for Dow to do the things that he was doing. You understand what I'm saying? Not only that, when it came to coding idols, and I can't believe this guy. He was on that drunk talk. I kind of caught it late, right? And I rewatched it, listened in. Something led me to it to listen in on to what it's, because I haven't listened to his stuff in a while, and a lot of times people send me things to listen to. But I just so happened to listen to that last drunk talk, and how he was saying that Pastor Rufus and myself and things like that are using words like Lord and God just to be able to relate to individuals who aren't a part of the Hebrew faith, who aren't a part of the Hebrew walk, right? And they may not use words like, or use the Most High's actual name, which is Yah, which is Yahweh. It's not to give recognition to anything, but I think that he would be one to talk. He would be one to speak when he wears pendants with tridents, right? And serpents wrapped around the pendant. You know what I mean? Now that he's serving Sol Invictus, right? Sol Invertus. You know what I mean? Greek gods and Roman gods. He's promoting it, right? And he's serving them. In fact, he's sacrificing other men's bodies for those pendants, for those idols. You understand what I'm saying? I believe they call it the Goshen, Camp Goshen. In Camp Goshen, they're sacrificing these young men's bodies, right? They go through all of these trials, right? For days, for 2-3 days, sacrificing their body literally in pain for these idols, for these so-called gods. You understand what these false gods? But he'd be one to really talk, right? And say that somebody else is using the word Lord or God when they're just trying to appeal to someone who may not be on the same level. Sometimes to be a fisher of men, you have to appeal to somebody, right? And use the word God so they'll understand. But the true meaning of God, and it coming right behind God, Yah or Yahweh. We all know who we're talking about, but it's the level of hypocrisy, right? And we got to understand, when we find ourselves in these positions, that she's crying, she was literally brutally raped, and the man who she trusted in and confided in was brushing it under the rug. Same thing that happened with teacher Shane and that young lady when she went to Dow and said, hey, he's molesting my daughter. Can you help me? And Dow proceeded to promote Shane into a position of leadership rather than helping that woman. You understand what I'm saying? This is the same thing. We're seeing the same things. It's the same pattern. Using the saints' money to be able to fund a lifestyle, right? Using the saints' money to be able to fund their lifestyle. No care, the lack of care, the lack of charity, the lack of love, right? The lack of love, the lack of charity within the community, within whatever. You see the same thing, and by their fruits you shall know them. Made the fruits very parallel for you. You can see what's going on here. The video that I posted, I custom made. Listen, the video that I posted, you can see the fruits coming from the Miss Cleo and coming from Lovey, false prophet Lovey. They were speaking the same words. They were saying the same shit. They weren't saying nothing different. They were on one accord. They both were talking the same language. You understand what I'm saying? But false prophet Lovey is using the scriptures to back up his warlock, his witchcraft, his spells that he's casting, the way that he's inserting demons in these individuals who are opening themselves up. And her herself was under the same spell because she bound herself to the things of this earth. She was not able to use the spiritual gifts that come from Shemayim, that come from heaven. You understand what I'm saying? Because she bound those spiritual gifts in heaven. She could not loose those things on this earth. You understand what I'm saying? And this is the reason why it's extremely important for us to be able to tap into that Eden, to that spiritual gift, to the Father. You understand what I'm saying? And walk by the spiritual man, as it says throughout the scriptures, and as you're being taught and being trained throughout the scriptures. But the world is training you to rely on technology, to rely on other men, to be able to show you the path when you should look within, as the book tells you to do. If you want to bring the kingdom of Yah to this earth, how are you going to do it if you've bound yourself, if you've binded yourself to the things of this earth? Your spiritual gifts will be bound in heaven. They will not be loosed on this earth. The kingdom of Yah will not be loosed on this earth if you don't understand how to loose them, how to loose it, how to connect with the Father. It's a sad situation that you got to sit here and cry about this like this, but she's obviously signed herself up for this. This is what she wanted. And then Yah allowed her onto her own destruction, right? And to the thing that she had to endure here. He allowed her to do it. He turned her over into that reprobate mind and let her go and let her be. You understand what I'm saying? She was going to learn one way or another. Either she was going to accept and receive and discern any of the signs that he sent to her, or she was going to have to go through something horrific like this and walk away from this ministry. You guys can listen to her whole testimony if you want. Honestly, I mean, I don't feel sorry for her. You understand what I mean? It's unfortunate that she had to endure this, but she actually was asking for this. She was actually seeking this. This is what she truly wanted. You understand what I'm saying? So she got what she wanted. She got her heart's desire, and she found out that it wasn't all rainbows and Skittles. You understand what I'm saying? It wasn't all what it was cracked up to be, what it was supposed to be. Not only that, she didn't gain from the situation. I'm gonna finish this out for her. She didn't financially gain from the situation by the time she left. This is the reason why I say this is a PR stunt. This is a PR move. If she wants to get back into ministry, then guess what? I told my testimony. I told my truth. And I put that truth out there. And like somebody said in the comment section below, because I'm not going to play this whole thing, but he also was asking for her daughter and her assistant. Now, he did get the assistant, as she said that the assistant that she had was violated by Java. You understand what I'm saying? I don't believe her daughter was, but from what I can remember, that her daughter was in jeopardy. You know what I mean? Of being violated as well. And she's a minor. So this guy Java, Passion Java, was asking for a minor child to go on a trip with him privately, right? Without her being present. And also with the assistant as well. After she's endured this horrific event, right? She's still remaining to hang around the embassy, right? The Kingdom Embassy, thinking that she would gain from this whole experience. Now, from what she understood, she said that she didn't realize that she had been violated, that she had been, the R word. She didn't realize that that's what was going on. And part of me wants to believe that. Part of me wants to believe that testimony. You understand what I'm saying? Part of me wants to believe that testimony, that she truly did not understand, that she was completely bewitched and she was deceived the whole time. There was a spell on her and she could not see through it. Part of me wants to believe that. But another part of me wants to say that she stuck around for the prestige. She stuck around for the things of this world. She's bound herself to the things of this earth. And that's the reason why she could not use the spiritual gifts to discern. All these things that she's done it willfully. She's done it on her own merit. This is where I'm at with it. So, hopefully she'll choose better. She'll make better decisions in the future. And I believe that we all should glean and learn from her testimony and her experience. All right. So my thing is this, right? we got more to expose in regards to this whole situation. And I believe that, you know, we will bring out more and more will come. You understand what I'm saying? We will expose more about these false prophets, and we'll keep bringing it out. We'll keep pushing it. But you know, this testimony came out recently, and I thought it'd be just edifying for people to hear, because honestly, it lines up directly with what I was talking about at the beginning of this live stream. Whatsoever we shall be bound on earth whatever you shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. I mean, if you bind yourself to the things of this earth, wouldn't your spiritual gifts be bound in heaven? Would you not be able to operate within your spiritual authority because you're too worried about the lust of the flesh, the pride of life, the things of this earth, loving the things on this in this earth? You understand what I'm saying? And she was a prime example as to how you can really fall victim to that for yourself, right? You made these choices to be that, right? But she was truly serving the Most High. She was truly seeking the face of Yah, and she was truly doing the things that she claimed that she was doing while she was there. Then she would be loosing the spiritual gifts onto this earth. She would have been able to discern the spirits that were operating around her, and she would have removed herself when she got the first or second sign. You understand what I'm saying? She would have immediately removed herself. She would have immediately gave some pushback. She would have immediately, when she saw that people was, you know, exalting him and worshiping him, she would have red flagged that thing immediately and gave pushback and questioned it and challenged it, right? Like, what's going on here? Instead, she went along with it because she binded herself to the things on this earth. All right, so I got a brother here, man. We're gonna go and move on to the next topic, y'all. We're gonna go and move on to the next topic. I'm gonna first read a few things from this one here. But now, you know what? We're gonna move on to the next topic, y'all, because yeah, this testimony is a pretty good testimony, and I believe I can add more context to a piece of the puzzle. Now, I'm not going to be able to name any real names here on this one because he didn't name any names, so I'm going to keep the names confidential just for his sake as well, and just out of respect for the individuals. I don't really need to name their names at this moment, but I know a lot of people that he's talking about in his testimony, right? And we're going to move on to the next part of this particular live stream. You understand what I'm saying? We're gonna get into straightway, y'all. Once again, there's a testimony that has surfaced. Shout out to this brother for dropping his testimony. I've seen him in the chat a few times as well, and you know, I really appreciate and respect that he came out and actually told his story as to what went on and why he actually left the ministry of Straightway. And you already know who we talking about, y'all.
Dumbass Pastor Dow.
Now we're gonna go ahead and get to this thing, man. Let's go ahead and play this video. This